What up, what up, what up? We are live. It is Tuesday. It's in the huddle. It's draft week. We got Tyler, we got Flip, we got Jonas, and we're going to be doing a little bit of drafting today. So stick around. On the other side of the music, we will be here to fix the Vikings. We'll talk to you soon.
Huddle around as Climbing the Pocket Network presents Jason and the Boys talking everything Minnesota Vikings.
What up, what up, what up? We are back. We are live. It is draft week. Let us go. Let's do this. And we just lost Jonas. I hope he comes back, or Flip's gonna have a new job to take on the show today. But while we wait for Jonas to come back in, Tyler, my man, how you doing? How you been? You've been busy this season, man. It's good to see you.
Hey, Jason, it's great to see you too. It's great to see you, Flip. Dave, it's great to see you after only about 5 minutes.
Yes.
Things are good. This has been the busiest draft season of my life. It somehow trumps last year. Constant 90-hour weeks, but let me tell you, I've never been more prepared, never been more excited, especially for what Dave's going to talk about here in a little bit, where we're going to be live from our good friends at Lake Monster Brewing. It's going to be a great, great weekend.
I love that. I love that. Just dropping the plug subtly in there. And we go from Tyler dropping the plug to Flip rocking the cap. My man, how you doing? How you been?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to do the Chris Collinsworth, the slide in. The slide in.
There you go. Boom. You're in.
Let's do it.
How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm ready for a little bit of draft prep, a little bit of mock draft Tuesday for y'all, right before the NFL draft.
There we go. And we Jonas was here. He's not here now. But when he comes back, we'll see how he's doing. Hopefully better than the internet connection from all the way across the pond. But while we wait on Jonas, we'll flip it over to producer Dave. My man,
Hey.
It's been a minute. How you doing? How you been?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm getting excited. Almost done with complete draft prep for 3 days live of Climbing the Pocket coverage of the draft. I'm getting excited.
Dave is fired up.
There's a new team in town, Kwesi and the boys. How they're going to draft, we don't know. We can suspect, but we aren't sure yet. And it just brims full of possibilities. That, as long as we keep those possibilities full and our beer glasses full of Lake Monster, we'll be golden.
All right. Well, let's do it. For today's show, we are going to be doing a mock draft. because obviously leading up to the draft, you haven't seen any of those. You haven't gone through any of those. Well, we're going to do one today where Tyler is going to be representing for the scouting community. Jonas was going to represent for the numbers, but Flip, you might have to just wear two hats today. Repping for the smart thing to do, because you do know what those things are. And Flip lives in a spreadsheet every now and again. He likes to pretend that he doesn't. And and producer Dave will just be in the back telling us to draft a lineman in every round.
So
Dave can represent for the fans, So Dave, you are driving this fun bus. So could you get things pulled up here so we can get this thing going? And everyone in the comments, you can let us know what your pick would be and how wrong our analysts are when they make their decisions as well. But pull it up. Let's go. Let's do this.
That's what I want. I want to hear the fan choice.
All 7 rounds for your Minnesota Vikings. We're using the defaults.
Why is it so dark?
It's because I have it on dark screen mode.
Do you want it light? Flip does not approve. Flip does not approve.
No. Oh, hold on.
It's fine. It's fine.
Dark mode is king.
Let me just put my glasses on. Dark. You can use dark mode. Don't. Okay. I mean,
hey, I could try to turn it off.
No, it's all good. The commenters have also said Flip is wrong. So.
Yeah. Yes.
Whoa. Blinded. Let's go. Let's fire.
All right. It's now in light mode.
Look at that aura. It's beautiful.
The draft has begun. So Flip, first round, a lot of different things have been talked about here.
Mm-hmm.
If it was up to you, just, where are you going? The board has fallen the way many have said the board might fall, where we have James Williams, who in recent weeks has become the new favorite pick. Early on it was all cornerback all the time. And over the past few weeks, the smoke around the Vikings has all been about wide receiver, bringing another weapon, stretching the field, offense, maximize Kirk Cousins. So here we are. It's time to make a pick. If it was up to you, Flip, which way are you going? What do you think is the smart thing to do based on what the board's looking like now? And Dave, if you could maybe show Flip some of the players who are available. We got a top wide receiver. We got an edge player who seems to be falling. It seems that maybe, PFF and some of the analysts like a bit more than the NFL does. We have Drake London, linebacker. Absolutely not. Undersized center. Sorry, Tyler. Not doing it. Where are you going here, Flip? What do you think?
How many quarterbacks went in the top 11 here looking at this draft? Because, what I'm looking for is zero. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for quarterbacks on the board because, honestly, day one, I know a lot of people are excited for that pick 12, but I'm looking for quarterbacks on the board, and I'm looking for a Vikings trade down. I think the number one goal of this draft is to actually generate draft capital for a 2023 trade up, because that's a better quarterback class. So if I'm Kwesi, I'm looking to play the analytics game a little here. I'm not going to pick a wide receiver at 12 when we can get good wide receivers on day 2. I'm not looking at the edge defender right now based on what's on the board. I think this is a trade down.
Okay, so Tyler, decisions, because we know that you have been banging the drum for Malik Willis all off season. And here we go. We are in the draft room. Willis is on the board. What are we doing here? What's your vote for what the Vikings should be doing in this situation if the board falls like this?
You hire the Secret Service to escort your team to select Malik Willis up at the front. For me, it's plain and simple. Like, I understand that I'm a little bit in the minority here with Malik Willis, and I'm okay with that. But I am convinced that this guy is the next Michael Vick. There are only 2 players in the history of the NFL that have had that type of skill set. It's Willis and Vick, and it's not even close. Willis played with 10 guys who will never receive a draftable grade in an offense that is basically backyard bullshit. When you combine those two things, it really results in what you saw. Him playing a lot of hero ball, him not utilizing progressions, him missing throws because he's trying to just make every play a home run because he knows he has to. I love Malik Willis. I love his potential, what he can be. He needs to figure out a lot of things with from the mental side of game as far as being on the field and how he utilizes his vision. But what he does have is a dynamic running ability that's going to give him an incredibly high floor. Right now, his floor is Jalen Hurts. His ceiling is Hall of Fame. I want to take that risk. This is everything that we have been talking about as far as the Minnesota Vikings and wanting more. We want a big arm. We want aggressiveness. 11% big time throw rate per PFF, 5% higher than number 2 and number 3, the only two people at 6% or above. I want to take this shot. It's everything we've ever wanted. There's no reason to not take the shot. Does it suck that Cousins has another extra year on the extension? Yes. You know what? You may not be able to completely maximize that rookie window, but you know what you do have? You have a guy that has a skill set that only one other player in the history of the league has ever had. I want to take that risk. I want to be the team that shoots for the moon, and that is Malik Willis. I'm done on my soapbox.
That feels. I'm not gonna lie. That feels like we packed all of the hyperbole that we allotted for this entire show into the first segment of the show. But we got Jonas back here. Yeah. We got Jonas back. The board has fallen to where there are no quarterbacks taken. What are you thinking? What direction would you like to go?
First of all, I would like to see the board because I just joined in. I had to relocate because my connection wasn't working up there. But yeah, I'm now in, and I definitely get the argument about Willis, and I have to say we are not stuck with Cousins beyond next season, because if we get Willis, if we draft him, and the Vikings basically tell Cousins that Willis will be the guy in 2023, I don't think Cousins will not waive his no trade clause, because obviously he wants to play, and he has to play if he wants to still maximize his market value, and therefore he would definitely waive that clause for the right opportunity. So the Vikings are not stuck, and swinging for Willis is definitely something that could get the Vikings the next step in this rebuild. And while Kwesi is calling this a competitive rebuild, it's still a rebuild, and I get it. And if he's there at 12, which I highly doubt, I'm okay with that.
All right, so we have 2 votes. Willis, we got Flip shaking his head. Flip, what do you got?
I got a couple things. Number one, he's number 30 on PFF's big board. So even if you love this guy, this is an overdraft. Number two, you can trade down based on, like, the cornerbacks are not there. Some other team is going to offer you more for Malik Willis. Even if you love him as a prospect, you have a quarterback in place for the next 2 years. And there are other teams, the Saints, the Steelers, that do not have that. And you can get trade value because of that dichotomy, because they need a quarterback right now, and you need a quarterback in a couple of years. So you trade down now and you try trading up in 2023. It's okay. He's not the only good quarterback that's ever existed, although, that's what Tyler thinks he is.
All right, so Dave, can you just let us take a look at the teams that are looking to trade up?
I saw the Saints and the Chiefs, I think.
The Saints, the Chiefs, the Colts, and the Raiders.
All right, so Flip, how far back are you comfortable going?
Yeah, I think, I want to stay in the first round, so that makes it pretty easy. And so I think, Saints, again, you will get more than this on draft day if all quarterbacks are on board in the middle of the first round.
All right, so it is decision time here. And I'm coming in. I got to make the decision. I know it probably won't be the most popular one, but we're going to look at a trade here, Dave. Dave,
Okay.
let's see what we can do in a trade back scenario.
Okay.
Jason,
With an
let me say
emphasis
this really quick.
on getting
I'll say
draft
this,
capital for the next season.
If you want to trade back, you can't do it if you believe Malik Willis is the guy. So my question for you is, even though trade back and getting that player is probably your best case scenario, if you believe he's the guy, you just have to take him. So my question to both of you is,
because
Okay.
I believe he has the most upside. I think that I understand why people are very excited about Malik Willis. I understand the upside. I understand why a player like a Josh Allen coming through in recent years has people really excited about, this raw prospect that is Malik Willis. But I think the part that we also need to be very honest about with a player like Malik Willis is that that's the very tiny end of the distribution for a player with the accuracy woes that he has, just turning it around and finding all of those things when they get to the NFL. That's something that rarely happens. The reason that we're all so hype about what Josh Allen has become is because it wasn't supposed to happen, because it rarely happens. And so Malik Willis, super exciting, great athleticism, rocket for an arm. But in the NFL, just strong arm isn't the thing that actually wins you games. It's quick decision making. It's the short to intermediate throws. That's where the game is being played right now. That's where the game is being won right now. And even a Patrick Mahomes, who we remember all of the bombs to Tyreek Hill, most of that offense happens in the intermediate range and with screens. So I don't know. Willis, I understand the upside. But I think we also need to be honest that the upside is a lottery ticket. And it's not a probable outcome. It's the tail end of a distribution that you're hoping that you go for. And so to Flip's point, as much as I think that the upside is there, I think that you have to have some humility in this and say, I could also be wrong. So let me stack more premium options to set myself up to continue building a contender, especially given that they just extended Kirk Cousins. So that is why I would be on board with the trade back scenario, even though Malik Willis is a very exciting prospect.
fair.
So Dave,
Yeah,
do we have a trade?
Well, this first time I've used this function. Obviously,
All right,
we get
well,
there 16th. What else?
Yeah, pick something next year.
And something next year? A second rounder next
Yeah.
year?
Oh no, we want a first.
I know we want a
Oh,
first.
they don't have a
but
first.
They don't have a
Saints
first.
don't have Steelers. What is Steelers
Yeah, let's see
offering?
who else is up.
Steelers aren't. It was Kansas City, Indianapolis, and the Raiders that were offering.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's see what the
we
Steelers.
can-
See if he can make a trade with the Steelers.
Okay.
Trade back to 20. See if we can get next year's first.
Okay. Offer trade. Okay. Why isn't it?
And of course, we get more than this on draft day, but Flip is right.
I don't
Oh
want
no, we're not trading any players.
Why isn't it letting me make the trade or make the offer?
Have you put any?
One of our picks yet.
Scroll down. Have you made any picks for the Vikings?
Yeah.
This is how we got.
Yeah,
this
you
is how we
gotta-
missed our
you gotta
pick a
give
few
12.
years back, Dave.
Yes, it is. Not accepted.
Oh,
Trade rejected.
rejected.
A round 2 pick next year.
No, give him next year's fourth. I want that first round pick.
Yeah, give them next year's fourth. Listen to your analytics department.
Nope.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Steelers said no dice. It's it's not going down. So Flip, where do we pivot? We've tried to do the move that you want. It's not going down. What are we doing next?
Wow. You're gonna put this on me like this?
Well, yeah, I'm giving you the option. We tried your option here. We pulled out the cartridge, blew on it, put it back in, still didn't work.
Saints.
What's the next choice here?
We're trained with the Saints.
Okay, do it.
Maybe we can trade that 19th pick instead of 16 so we can get more.
Ooh, love it.
See.
All right, Dave, now that you figured out how to make it work, let's
Yes.
go, let's go.
So unclick that, the 12th, their 16th, and...
Do you want
round
16
two
or
next year?
19?
Let's go 19 and round 2 next year.
Yeah.
Boom.
Move up 7.
I think you
Boom.
can. Yeah.
There we go. Resume the draft.
Stockpiling.
All right. So we are back up, and we're gonna run through this one a little
There
bit
went
more
Olave.
quickly here. Let's see the
Oh,
board.
not Olave.
All right. Oh, whoa. No, Dave, we can't see the board. Can't see the board, Dave.
I'm looking
No,
to see who got picked
Malik Willis went at 12.
at 12,
Yep.
then
And then we
Williams,
see it.
then Jordan Davis, Kalafdis, Wyatt, London, and Olave. So the wide
All right.
receivers has started running.
Yeah. Jordan Davis also off the board.
All right, Jonas.
Thank God.
Who's your pick?
I think we would have to scroll down a bit because I'm not taking a linebacker at this pick. I'm not
That's
taking a center.
My man. My man.
I mean, Andrew Brew might be an option. I'm a bit lower on him than some others are, but I think at 19, that's perfectly fine. At 19, Andrew Booth is definitely a solid pick. I would probably pick Elam over Booth because I have him slightly ahead, but on the other hand, I think Booth might be a little bit better fit for our system. So, yeah, I think
right, so
I could get on board with Booth at this pick.
Okay, so Jonas and Brian are on board with Booth. Tyler, who you picking?
Well,
That's
I'll
not
tell
an
you
undersized
this,
center.
I'm not gonna take Tyler Linderbaum, but he does present an interesting argument because I'll tell you this: if his arms were just a little bit longer, he'd be considered a consensus top 10 player, and really that's his only question mark is that arm length. Because of what you get from Garrett Bradbury, I don't know how much better Linderbaum's gonna be. So, and when you're talking about premium positions, I've really cooled on that idea. I'm not a fan of it anymore. I was open to it earlier. I've learned my lesson, Jason. You'd be proud of me. So one thing I'm really interested, Dave, I know PFF is not as high on him. Is Treylon Burks from Arkansas still on the board? Because if he's still on the board, he's a guy that I want to target.
Right there.
There he is. PFF is very low on him. I am much higher on him. He's in that like 20 range for me, so this is right in the sweet spot. The really interesting thing with Burks, he is not super explosive with acceleration, but once he's moving, he's a locomotive. You're not catching him. He's got that real build-up speed, 6'2.5", 225. He has all the traits, body control, and contested catch ability to be a traditional X, while giving you that gadgety type stuff that Debo made really popular here this past year. You can utilize him doing just about anything. He's best served right now playing as like a big slot in condensed sets, which we're going to see a lot with Keven O'Connell, getting players in condensed sets and letting them work in space. And as you try to utilize Treylon Burks early on, that's going to be your best method of trying to maximize the player as he grows and develops. And I believe I can trust this coaching staff to really develop him, unlike what the Vikings tried to do with both Cordell Patterson and Laquan Treadwell, did not really develop them at all. And I think with what Keven O'Connell likes to do offensively, schematically, this is a fantastic fit for Treylon Burks. Plus, he's got that big body where he can block similar to an Irv Smith Jr., and do a lot of those like split zone kickouts. I really like the fit. I like the value. We got a second round pick next year. Now we fortify a receiving corps that, let's be honest, is pretty putrid if Justin Jefferson goes down because of all the question marks with Adam Thielen. And then behind him, I don't think we're going to have players that can really step up into the roles they're going to be needed to. Treylon Burks is a great future and priority need for right now, and that's why I'm banging the drum.
All right, Flip. So we've got corner, we've got wide receiver, 2 premium picks. What are your thoughts? Which way should the Vikings go here?
I'm not going to bang the drum either way too much here. I think this is exactly why you trade down. You see a bunch of good options at the board at premium position, not just cornerback and receiver, but there's also some edge defenders still on the board here. If I'm sitting here, if I'm Kwesi at 19, I'm just going with Andrew Booth, plain and simple here. Get the cornerback, get the first round corner. You got the second round pick for next year, and you can focus on wide receiver on day 2.
All right. Well, there it is. We're going with Andrew Booth, and Flip will be auctioning off the shirt that he is wearing today. And a lucky winner might get that shirt sent to them after the draft coverage this week. And here we go. Let's get this thing going. All right, y'all. So that was the first round. There was obviously, we were going to take a little bit of time getting that one right. But in order to get through the rest of these, we're going to have to speed this thing up. So we got a corner on the board. People should be happy about that. Folks have been banging the drum for that all off season. We need corners. We have no corners. We got a corner. We're into round 2. Tyler, take a look at this board. Tell me who you're going. You just got to do it a little bit more quickly than you would in the first because we don't have as much time this time.
Absolutely. When you talk about like our analytics department, Jonas will probably echo this. Getting a quarterback here that you believe has sky high potential is a really, really good value. And Matt Corral provides that. He has a lot to learn as far as progressions and how he sees the field, but he has all the arm talent. He has the gusto, and he has the rushing ability to give you a little something extra. So that's something we need to consider here. As he kind of scrolls, the one name that really jumped out to me is Oklahoma's Nick Bonito. And I know when Ryan watches this, he's just going to be drooling. But when you look at the player, he's fantastic. He's 6'4", 265, an incredible speed rusher on the outside. He would be able to learn from guys like Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter. Plus, all 3 of them would be able to play multiple, and you can utilize them in A gaps, B gaps, as 3 techniques standing up. You can do all kinds of fun things with those players. I like what he brings to the table. That would be the guy that I pound the table for here. But I will say Drake Jackson, projected to be a first-round pick going into the year. USC was a dumpster fire. They had no idea how to use him. Tested athletically fantastic. He's 6'4", 270, even gained weight for testing and still tested well. That is a guy I know our friend Eric Eager was talking about earlier today on Twitter, and I echo his sentiment. This guy could be an absolute steal in this draft, and he could potentially be a top 10 pass rusher.
Jonas, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I will agree on Bonito because I'm also very high on him. He might be a pass rusher mainly early on. He won't be on the field for most rushing downs early in his career because he doesn't have to. And he is a really good pass rusher. He's probably one of the best pass rushers in this draft. He definitely has been one of the more productive pass rushers in this draft. And early on, he can focus on that. He can, while he can still pack on some mass, some power as well. And as soon as he gets that, he can get an expanded role. And the Vikings have Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter right now, as long as they stay healthy, so they can use Bonito in this role as that number 3 pass rusher. And yeah, I really like this.
All right. So Flip, both of our analysts have said pass rusher, but the comments, The voice
I'm
of
with
the
the
fan is
comments.
asking. The voice of the fans are asking about wide receiver. Dave, can you maybe take a look at the available players? Let us know what wide receivers are on the board here, just so we can take a look.
Sure.
It looked like we missed that run.
We did.
Mhm.
Jalen Tolbert,
Okay.
Johan Dotson.
Jahan Dotson.
Got the
Yeah,
number
so it
one
looks
tight
like we
end right
missed
there.
the run. Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like we missed the run on wide receivers. So Flip, given that, which way do you want to go here?
Do I want to go quarterback or do I want to go edge? That's tough. I assume that Jalen Petrie is also off the board here. That is the only other option I would see here that I would like to investigate. So let's go. Let's make our boy Ryan happy. Let's go edge defender.
Boom. There it is.
Benito
is the pick. Let us keep things moving along here, fortifying that defense. And here we go. Brian is up. He says this is the time. It's interior offensive line time.
Yes.
Flip,
Yes.
where are you at with it? How do you feel? You don't need to pick a player, but based on where we are, based on what we've done so far, what are the positions that you're targeting at this stage of the draft?
I'm targeting wide receiver at this stage of the draft. I'm going to try to draft 2 wide receivers in this draft. Is it going to be right at the spot? Will the Vikings actually have to work to find the right, position in the draft to make sure that wide receiver comes in at value? But, a guy like Kyle Phillips is worth a flyer here late in the 3rd round or mid 3rd round. I know there is some hype on interior offensive line. I just think they addressed that position so heavily in free agency. We've got competition throughout the interior offensive line. They're saying good things about Garrett Bradbury, but we'll see what happens when minicamp and training camp get going. So I'm okay going wide receiver here and having some day 3 competition for Garrett Bradbury.
All right. Tyler, it sounded like you had some things you wanted to say about the interior offensive line, and I'm seeing some names up there that I recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dave, hit the wide receivers real quick just so we can see.
All right.
Is there anyone that really stands out here? And Tyler, while
take a look
we're
at the wide
scrolling
receiver
here,
room.
talk about interior offensive line, just because I know you know who that
Absolutely.
is.
So he wasn't listed as an interior offensive lineman, but he's projected to play that in the National Football League, and that's Wake Forest Zach Tom. Played really well at tackle, but he has the body size and athleticism of somebody you want to play inside. I believe you take him on day 2, and he is a guy that can play all 5 positions. When you're talking about a guy who's going to start as a backup offensive lineman, having that type of versatility is massive. And I think he projects best as a center, but can play guard and tackle as well. This is a guy that I identified in my 7th round, what I would do mock draft for the Minnesota Vikings, for the Vikings Wire. I love what he brings to the table because he has a lot of those traits. He's got some sand in the pants, and he's got really good technique and recovery ability. This is somebody that you could pencil in as that Bradbury competition, as Flip mentioned. I don't like the Kyle Phillips selection because I don't believe in taking a slot only on day 2. I just don't think the value's
he's
there.
a route runner.
It doesn't matter if he's a slot only. You're not getting any kind of requisite value from the position. But when you
isn't that what they said about Justin Jefferson?
That's what they said about Justin Jefferson.
The guy is known for his route running process. They were wrong. They were wrong. It's not about what
Why
you
are they
get
not
in
wrong
college.
this
It's
time?
how you because how you project forward is a slot only. He's a guy that's going to be shifty. He's going to run his routes technically and efficient from the slot. He's not a guy you want to put on the outside. Justin Jefferson had all the ability to go on the outside. He had never proven it in college, and those people who said he was a slot only, I was one of them for a little while. They were 100% dead wrong because they forgot about the projection.
What we're saying is that we want this guy in the Cooper Kupp role?
Yeah, let's take. Woo! That sounds nice. I guess we can take this another 3rd round guard who's not going to see a lick of playing time on the field in 2022. We can do that 2 years in a row. Let's do that.
Jonas,
but this
can
guy
you break
can
a
play
tie for
tackle
us?
and center. This is about building your best five, and Tom could be a big part of that.
Jonas, can you break the tie? Which way are you going here based on what you see on the board?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about Zach Tom. I mean, yeah, he's very athletic and he has very very good feet, and yeah, I mean, but
Watch his tape
I'm a
against
bit
Jermaine Johnson, how he stonewalled him. That's all I'm saying.
um I know it's probably not very popular, especially because we already have two slot cornerbacks right now on the roster. But I'm a really, really big fan of Max Jones. He's a really good man, slot defender, probably only a slot defender. But besides being a very good slot defender, he is also a really, really good returner, not only in kickoffs, but also on punts. He has like 9 career return touchdowns, I think, in his last 3 years. And like, I'm a
Tell
really,
him,
really big
Steve.
fan of him.
All right. So we have cornerback, potentially all offensive line positions, and wide receiver. Looking at the board here, thinking about positional value.
I would go Carson
yeah,
Strong before offensive
Oh,
line.
God. We're
I
definitely
was
not doing
just
that.
about to say that.
Look, I love
Carson
Strong
St-
more than just about anybody, and I think he'd be a fantastic fit here. But if you're not willing to take Malik Willis in round 1, you're not willing to take Carson Strong here, because the idea is you want to draft a guy right now that can be your future, and it doesn't sound like you believe any of these guys will be the future. So therefore, I don't understand the thought process. Does that make sense?
Carson Strong has no knees.
I think he can be the future, but
that
there are
does
a lot of
not make
questions he has to answer.
That does not make sense. We talked about a key part of the Malik Willis conversation was how soon that guy's going to get onto the field. And if he can get onto the field for a different team sooner, then we can take advantage of that in terms of trade value. That was the conversation around Malik Willis. That does not apply here in the third round.
All right, so third round. I think I'm going to go with, if we scroll back up, Tyler was compelling. I like the positional versatility. We continue to bolster the offensive line with someone who can play across the board. We're going with Zach Tom. PFF is going to hate it. Flip is already mad at me.
No, once you make the pick,
there we go.
I'm a team player in the war room. Once you make the pick, I'm on board with that pick. Welcome, Zach Tom, to the team. Tyler, do you think it's going to be less or more heated in the actual Vikings war room this weekend?
Well, I hope it's just as heated, and then they can calm down afterwards. Because if you don't have somebody that's willing to bang the drum or stand on a soapbox for a player, is there really a lot of conviction? Like, unless it's 100% agreement, like, hey, we believe player A is the guy, and there's no discourse back and forth. Like, you want to have guys on a soapbox. That's a good thing. It's a healthy thing.
Boom. And there it is. You know, and the football gods, maybe they were smiling on us. We thought it was going to be 7. It ends up being 3. PFF gives us an A. And the show only takes 45 minutes today. I feel like wins, chalking them up all around here. So, Dave, don't get upset. Don't beat yourself up. We take the lemons. We make lemonade. Hey. Overall, I'm going to ask the commenters, if the draft goes something like this, where we get a highly rated corner, a highly rated edge, and we bolster the offensive line, how are you feeling about things for the Minnesota Vikings coming out of the first couple days of the draft?
And we get a second round pick.
And we got a future pick out of it. Look at this. You know, the comments actually enjoying something that we've done on the show. This is new. Makes me happy. Tyler, how you feeling? Because we went in some different ways than you wanted, but we brought it back here with the second 2 picks that we made. Grade our draft from your perspective.
Now, I'm coming from the perspective where I think it should have been Malik Willis, so I am disappointed about that, obviously. But if you look solely at the fact of what this is telling you on the screen, it's an A. You get a great cornerback in Andrew Booth Jr., who I am a big fan of. He's got all the athleticism and length you want. He can click and close. He's got good ball skills. Bonito is a really high upside edge rusher on the edge. Really nice stand up type player. And then Zach Tom gives you all that versatility on the inside and potential competition for Garrett Bradbury. So I'm a big fan of this. I would have liked to have taken wide receiver instead of Booth Jr., but I really can't complain because we got a great player at value, and it happened to also be a position of need. So I like, as much as I would have gone in a different direction, it's really hard to be upset at what we got.
And so I saw Nick Howard in the comments be displeased by our waiting on getting an interior offensive line. So Nick, if you're still around, I would like you just to comment, which of the players that we did pick would you have preferred for us not to have picked to replace that person with an interior offensive lineman? And I'm just curious on that.
Even though, Jason, it says tackle, I hope Nick knows that he was drafted for the versatility and to play on the inside, not to be a tackle. So that's something that needs to be at least said. So there hopefully is more understanding.
Okay. Oh, wow. And so Nick is...
He's a Linderbaum lover. He's a Linderbaum lover.
We're definitely not doing that. We riot if that happens again. We've already seen this with Bradbury. We don't need more undersized centers in the first round. We don't need it. Jonas, looking at the draft, looking at the way things play out, how you feeling about this? If this is what happens for the Vikings, how are you feeling walking away from it?
Yeah, we absolutely fine with that. I mean, we have a future second round pick. We got a cornerback where I'm a bit lower on than most, but still high enough to be satisfied with that pick. I'm really high on Nick Bonito, so I'm happy about that. I hope for a wide receiver somewhere on day 2. I think the second round is probably the sweet spot for the Vikings for that. But Bonito at that point was, in my opinion, too good to pass up. So I'm good with that, and I probably would have went in a different direction on the third round pick, but it's also that fits our system, that he probably doesn't need to start right away because there is a lot of competition on the guard, and yes, maybe also the center spot, because we know that Reed has played center in preseason and did fairly well, so maybe he can challenge Bradbury, and Zach Tom can develop right behind them and maybe be the center of the future.
All right. And next up, I was going to go to Dave's internet provider to see how they felt about the download, upload speed, and our draft. But it looks like that was phenomenal. Flip, we'll go to you here. You know, how you feeling about the way things kind of played out in the draft? I know that you and the comments and Jonas all very much wanted us to pick wide receiver, but in most of the places where we were coming up, it seemed that we were going to be getting like the last player in a run, which tends not to work out as well for you. So we went with another position. Outside of the wide receiver not being there, how you feeling about how the draft shook out?
Yeah, I said at the top of the show, goal number 1 is to generate some additional draft capital. So we did that. Goal number 2 is to get CJ Ham off the field as fast as possible, as much as possible. We did not quite do that. So I think this is a draft where you look at what happened between the second round there, and you see where the wide receivers actually went. You maybe try to adjust your strategy into finding that second round wide receiver. I would have taken Kyle Phillips. I think he's a great fit. I'm always looking for route running. And yes, he projects as a slot only, but they can mix 2 and 3 wide receiver sets based on the offensive personnel they have right now. So,
boom. Well, there it is. We've made it through. We got an A, so we'll take that. Dave,
Take it.
before we get up out of here, can you please let the folks know what's coming on for the rest of this week?
Yes, by all means. There will be no show tomorrow night. Vikings Happy Hour is in full live draft prep mode because Matt will be one of the many hosts on for the live coverage. There is no show tomorrow, but Thursday, Friday, and Saturday we will be live before the draft starts here. We want to promote Friday, day 2, is if you're in the Twin Cities area, come down to Lake Monster Brewing, the Brew Hall. We'll have everybody there, and they will be running the show from there. There's plenty of free giveaways. Lake Monster Brewing is giving away beer, merch. Gotta love it. We're giving away UNRL sweatshirts, hoodies to be exact. How are those, Flip?
They look great, man. We're gonna make some Vikings fans really happy this
I was
weekend.
so jealous when I saw them and then looked online and they're all sold out, and we've got 2 to give away. Also, there is
And Flip shirt is going to be the top prize in the giveaway. Game Changer 16 will be putting in the bid. I see it now.
I see you, Donnie.
There will be a jersey giveaway. And the jersey is going to be a jersey of your choice. So it could you could select possibly Justin Jefferson, per se, or you could select the first round draft choice. Guaranteed to have that jersey for at least 4 years. So use that wisely. But all that brought to you as by Lake Monster Brewing, partnered with Daily Norseman. Climb in the Pocket will be here live all 3 days. We'll be putting up the schedule. All weekend long. All 50-plus hours of live broadcasting. So join us. Have a good time. Bring your favorite beverage. Be prepared to laugh. Be prepared to cheer. Be prepared to scream if Kwesi picks somebody you didn't expect.
But be here for the fun.
Yeah.
But there it is, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on. Tyler, good to see you again. Jonas, thanks for coming on. Know it's late. Flip, always a pleasure. Dave, play the music, man.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and rate us on your favorite aggregator. And a special shout out goes to our partners, the Daily Norseman, where the best Vikings content can be found, and to Lake Monster Brewing, home of the best beer in Minnesota. Skol, everybody.